America's greatest homecoming from a Greek life member's point of view.
Women's and men's basketball are looking hot.
And get to know a couple Oklahoma State athletes.
All this and more coming up on the Poke Report.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the Poke Report. I'm Peyton Schmidt.
And I'm Steve Spears.
This week we are inside the historic Heritage Hall just a week after Oklahoma State's homecoming in a rough go-about for the Cowboys.
It definitely was rough, Peyton, because coming into this homecoming, the Cowboys had won 5 homecoming games straight.
That's right, Steve. I truly thought the Cowboys were going to pull off their first conference win of the season against the Sun Devils, but between the rain, that 2.5-hour weather delay, and the effort, it simply just wasn't within reach for the Cowboys.
But before we get into details of the game, this was America's greatest homecoming. For details on that, we're going to go to our guy, Jaden Scamhorn, for the latest.
Today, I'm going to be walking you guys through all-night pomp as a member of Greek life. I'm a junior, and my pledge class had to check in at 3 p.m. for our first shift, so we went to roll call and got straight to pumping some last-minute rows we had to get done. All-night pomp is a tradition within the Greek community where starting Thursday at noon, every chapter pairing pomps over 24 hours straight to prepare for a walk-around. Homecoming is what sets OSU apart from other colleges, being known as the best in the nation. Every year, fraternities and sororities pair together to build huge decks for everyone to see and enjoy. There are 2 sides of homecoming, indoor and outdoor. Indoor is in charge of all pumping responsibilities, and the outdoor crew builds the deck itself through welding and engineering. Pumping is the action of pushing tissue paper through chicken wire to create super cool images. I serve on the indoor team for homecoming, so all I have to do is pump, and after our first shift, we took a quick break to go collect some candy and pass it out to everyone in the house. Our break wasn't too long, so it was right back to work, but first I had to go see some buddies on outdoor crew. The outdoor crew is hard at work for the full 24 hours before walk-around, hanging up pomp and making sure everything looks perfect. After hours of pumping, everyone from both chapters are all required to be at what we call all hands on deck, which starts the Friday of walk-around at 12 p.m. and ends at 3 p.m. when the deck must be finished. My friends and I went outside to help clean up around the deck and get everything in good shape before time was up. When the clock struck 3, everyone stood back and admired all of our hard work, reflecting on the months we spent building this amazing deck. All of these decks are built for the Stillwater community and thousands of visitors to admire and enjoy, taking place the Friday before game day in what is known as walk-around. It was a great homecoming season, and spending another all-night pomp with my best friends was an experience I will never forget.
Thanks for that, Jaden. Now, Peyton, did you participate in America's greatest homecoming?
I did, Steve. I actually went to the walk-around Friday night, but that was about it for me because the weather just was not my cup of tea at all. What about you, Steve?
I did not. I lived on Greek Road last year, and the parking and everything for walk-around was terrible, so I opted to sit this one out this year. But let's talk about that game.
Yeah, that game was disappointing to say the least. Let's go to our own Dalton Arredondo, who has the game recap for us.
Oklahoma State is celebrating its 125th season in style, honoring its roots with the iconic OA logo. But the Cowboys' homecoming clash with Arizona State quickly turns challenging. ASU takes control of the game from the start, putting points on the board and keeping OSU's defense on its back foot. Despite some bright spots, the Cowboys struggle to match the Sun Devils' relentless pace. Brendan Presley and Ollie Gorn II delivered big plays for Oklahoma State, closing the gap with 2 touchdowns. However, Arizona State responded by taking a touchdown lead going into halftime. A weather delay paused the game for over 2 hours, but ASU picked up right where they left off in the first half, keeping control and extending their lead. With the final minutes ticking down, the Pokes got a consolation score with a Sesi Valahi touchdown. Oklahoma State had to accept another loss with the final score of 42-21 to Arizona State. With this loss, Oklahoma State is still winless in conference play. And with 3 games left in the season, they must win out in order to be bowl eligible. With that, coaches must be on the same page.
We need to do a better job of coaching, in my opinion. Again, I need to evaluate the video tonight. but I'm not so sure that I've agreed with our schemes.
With postseason hopes slipping away, the Cowboys aim to regroup and keep pushing forward. Presley believes the team is determined to stick together no matter the setbacks.
Certain things aren't going your way, so it's like, oh, how are you guys still coming out there and doing this like that? Because like we believe in each other, we love each other, and we're gonna go out there and play for each other, whether we're like 0-10 or whether we're 10-0. So it doesn't really matter.
With just 3 games left, the Cowboys will fight for pride, resilience, and a chance to end the season on a high note. For the Poke Report, I'm Dalton Arredondo.
Thanks for that, Dalton. Props to you for covering that game in the rain.
Couldn't agree more. It was a washout. It was crazy. I went home at halftime, but from one football to another, Cowgirl Soccer has Grace in the net. Grace Gordon. Our very own Landon Pats has the breakdown on hers.
Oklahoma State Cowgirl Soccer is patiently waiting for Monday night when the teams will be seeded into the national championship tournament. At a record of 14-4-3 and ranked 25th in the country, the Cowgirls are all but locked in. A staple piece of the Cowgirls' success is their senior goalkeeper, Grace Gordon. Gordon finished runner-up in the Big 12 Goalkeeper of the Year honors. Her 12 shutouts on the season helped propel the Cowgirls into position to get back into the playoff. Coming off her poorest performance against BYU, head coach Colin Carmichael says she has faith that she will bounce back.
You know, when you look at those goals, there's probably 1 or 2 that she probably looks at and says, I could have done better, but there was like 3 or 4 that you're just like, defense didn't play well. So, yeah, she's tough. I mean, she was pretty bummed, as you could imagine, after the game, but we all were. But I think, like I said, we've been preaching all season. You just shake yourself down the next day and you go, okay, who's next?
For fans, getting into the playoffs is the most exciting time of the season. But for the senior class here, it can be the mark of the end of their playing career, which can be very scary. For Grace Gordon, she says that she's enjoying every last moment before that time comes.
You know, you never know where it's going to go from here. Even, I want to play pro, but I don't know what's in the cards for me. So, it's just kind of, you just soak in as much as you can. And like, even on the bad days, you just take in the fact that you got the opportunity to be a part of it and show up. And, it's a gift to get to wake up to this every day.
Allowing less than a goal a game and logging over 1,800 minutes this season, the Cowgirls' star goalkeeper will help lead the group once their opponent has been revealed. She says the team feels prepared for their opportunity to bounce back.
I just don't think it was our day. It was off, but I think it's one of those things where it's like having a bad rep. You get it out of the way so you don't have it moving forward, and it's kind of like you just have to use that as motivation. You never want to feel like that again, and, at least if you lose a game, it's going to be a hard-fought loss. It's not going to be get me off the field type of loss.
For the Poke Report, I'm Landon Pats.
Thanks for that, Landon. She will definitely be missed next year.
She sure will. Grace has been so good to that program. But don't go anywhere, because after the break, we will highlight even more OSU sports and our favorite section, the Pick'ems.
I want to show you something. This is the money we could save by switching from fresh packed California crushed tomatoes to concentrated tomato paste.
I want to show you something too. I got a new door. Go take a look at it.
Nobody uses better ingredients than Little Caesars, like fresh-packed California crushed tomatoes. Pick up a large, deep dish for just $8.
Pizza. Introducing Lincoln Black Label at Diffie Ford Lincoln. Designed to impress those with impeccable taste, Lincoln Black Label features a collection of interior themes and a host of exclusive membership privileges inspired by attention to detail and a love of automobiles. With Lincoln Black Label, you'll enjoy an extended premium maintenance plan that covers wear items or even remote vehicle delivery. Lincoln Black Label isn't about luxury ownership, it's about membership. Lincoln Black Label, exclusively at Diffie Ford Lincoln.
Welcome back to the Poke Report. Thanks for sticking with us.
Cowgirl basketball might just have the best team yet under head coach J.C. Hoyt. Our own Kyle Ramsey gives us the inside scoop on the Cowgirls' first game of the season against Arkansas Pine Bluff.
The Oklahoma State Cowgirls basketball team opened up the 2024-25 season tonight at Gallagher-Iba Arena with a dominant victory over the Arkansas Pine Bluff Golden Lions. Anna Gredasi opened up the scoring for the Cowgirls as she buries a three to put OSU up early. A layup from Jasmine Sostan would give Pine Bluff its biggest lead of the game. After some back-and-forth action, Macy Heward puts it in and gets the foul, which would be the start of an 11-0 run for the Cowgirls. From there on out, it was all OSU. Late in the second, Aussie finds Micah Gray for the three ball, and that puts the Cowgirls up by 21. Aussie would end the night with a team-high 5 assists. The Cowgirls win a blowout in their season opener 96-43. Oklahoma State head coach J.C. Hoyt was proud of her team's efforts in the opening contest.
You know, anytime you can start the season 1-0, it's a good thing, and we had a lot of really great things come out of tonight. A lot of things I know off the top of my head we can work on, but as always, we'll go back and watch film and see how we can get better.
Tonight's game also featured a major accolade for a cert Cowgirl.
Sophomore guard Macy Heward set a career high in points with 31 and set a record for most points in a debut by a Cowgirl. Heward was lights out from start to finish, going 9 for 12 from the field and burying 5 of 7 from beyond the arc. The Colorado native went a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line. She also led the Cowgirls in rebounds with 9. Heward attributes her confidence and preparation to her performance.
There's a lot of trust when you put that preparation. Like, I trust myself a lot to take these shots, and I think preparation gives you confidence. So getting on the floor and knowing I shot those makes me feel calmer.
The Cowgirls will look to keep rolling as they are set to take on Oral Roberts November 6th at Gallagher-Iba Arena. For the Poke Report, I'm Kyle Ramsey.
Thanks for that, Kyle. They sure are looking sharp, and I'm excited to see if the Cowgirls can make a run in the NCAA tournament next spring.
On the flip side, Cowboy basketball is out to a hot start as well. It's the beginning of the Steve Lutz era. We're going to check in with our guy Ben Kreider to see how the Cowboys got off to start against the Green Bay.
Cowboy basketball opened to a strong start on Monday, and they'll be looking to keep the ball rolling Sunday against St. Thomas. The new look Pokes are headlined by the arrival of head coach Steve Lutz, who joined the program in April, and the returning backcourt trio of Bryce Thompson, Connor Dow, and Jamiron Keller. After a 12-20 campaign which saw it miss the postseason, they'll be pushing to return to the big dance.
Oklahoma State's transition marked the arrival of 13 newcomers, with 12 transfers and 1 freshman. However, they appeared to make up for the lost time, handling Green Bay 89-76 in its season opener.
Thompson highlighted the contest with 22 points on 9 of 13 shooting, while Xavier transfer Abu Usman tallied 16 points and 8 rebounds at the 5 spots. As a whole, Oklahoma State shot 21 of 24 at the stripe and had 10 triples. Sunday will provide a litmus test for the Oklahoma State as the St. Thomas Tommies are set to square off at Green Bay on Friday. The team is fresh off a 96-71 win over Division III North Central. Action is slated for 2 p.m. Central on ESPN+. For the Poke Report, I'm Ben Kreider.
Thanks for that, Ben. I'm really excited to see how the Cowboys do this season.
Oklahoma State's men's and women's cross-country teams traveled down to Waco, Texas to begin the postseason. Cowboys sophomore Brian Musau was able to defend his title and even set a new school record he had also set for an 8K, with a time of 22:06 and some change. The Cowboys ended the day in second place, finishing with 52 points, falling to BYU, who had 41 points on the day, and with 3 all Big 12 honors given to those who placed in the top 15. On the Cowgirls side, they finished 4th overall in the team standings. Sophomore Josephine Moira and senior Sivan Orbach earned all Big 12 honors as they placed 14th and 15th. The Cowboys and Cowgirls will return to action in 2 weeks at the NCAA Midwest Regional Championships in Peoria, Illinois.
On top of that, Cowgirls soccer advanced to the quarterfinals in Kansas City after defeating Cincinnati by a score of 3-2 in the final minute. The quarterfinals looked a little bit different for the Cowgirls as they were derailed by the BYU Cougars. The Cougars put up 5 goals against the Cowgirls, giving the Cougars something to cheer about other than the win. That was the most goals BYU had scored in a single game prior to the Big 12 tournament, and that was 3. The Cowgirls had 13 shots but couldn't find the back of the net in their Big 12 title run. They'll be looking forward to get seeded into the NCAA tournament where they hopefully can do some more damage.
At ASAP Energy, our goal is to provide the best customer service for whatever our clients need.
My relationship with ASAP Energy came about in 2007. I was wanting to build a convenience store. I didn't know how to do it. I'd never been in the business. I just felt comfortable with Rick. And so I knew that I wanted to do business with a guy like that. Integrity, loyalty, and family. I would recommend that to anybody. Thanks for taking a chance on me.
At ASAP Energy, everything matters.
Where were you born? It's a question asked all the time. Because where you're from shapes who you are, inspires how you do things. And when that inspiration comes from a place this refreshing, this majestic, this... well, you get the idea. Coors Light, born in the Rockies.
Welcome back to the Poke Report, and thanks for sticking with us.
Now, it's getting a little cold outside, Peyton, but we can't forget about our baseball team. Our very own reporter, Kenna Mock, sat down with Cowboy infielder Aiden Miola to get the scoop.
Since his freshman year, Cowboy baseball infielder Aiden Miola has been a key player for this team. Last season, Miola ended with 10 home runs, 47 RBIs, and was an all Big 12 honorable mention selection. Aiden has been a part of some of Cowboy baseball's most iconic moment, like in 2022 when Aiden was just a freshman. He hit a 2 RBI single in the 10th inning of a regional game against Arkansas to give the Cowboys the lead. What makes Aiden stand out the most is not just his talent on the field, but it's also his passion. With every celebration, it is clear he is oozing with excitement.
I think when something cool happens and you've been through stuff to where like you get back to a point where something good happens for you and your team, the emotion kind of just takes over you. It's nothing like force that you plan. It just kind of happens.
Mayola's journey throughout the years has not always been an easy one. In his years at Oklahoma State, he has battled injuries in every season, but that has never stopped him, and he has always bounced back.
I think when you have positive people around you, it makes it a lot easier, and I like to consider myself a positive person, and kind of see the good in everything. So, like if God wants me to learn something and go through it, I'm gonna do it and see what's on the other side of it.
Baseball might be what Aiden is known for, but it is far from his only passion. He feels the most at home by the water, fishing with his family.
I like catching fish that are bigger than me if I can, and it's kind of an adrenaline rush. Like when you're not playing sports, like when you're an athlete, you kind of look for something else to give you that. So like I golf a lot and I fish a lot. Those are like my two things.
Aiden grew up in a family of athletes and was raised by United States Soccer Hall of Famer Tony Mayola, so greatness was always in his blood. His dad has taught him many lessons, but for Aiden, he will always remember 2 things his dad told him.
Yeah, there's 2 things that will always stick with me. It's control what you can control and never get too high or never too low. So kind of just staying right here the whole time, whether you're doing bad or good, and then just not worrying about things that are out of your control.
Aiden has already made a name for himself here at Oklahoma State, and this coming season, fans can expect no different from him as he is looking to continue to make history for this team. He will forever want to be remembered for his legacy, and he is prepared to leave it all on the field. What is the legacy that you hope that you're leaving at Oklahoma State when people look back and remember you? What do you want them to think of?
Somebody that played extremely hard every game, and I really just want my teammates to remember somebody that they liked being on a team with, and maybe I teach a younger guy this year something that he'll never forget.
With the Poke Report, I'm Kenna Mock.
Thanks for that, Kenna.
Steve, are you curious to see what's going on around the Big 12?
We have to.
Our Big 12 expert, Caroline Cook, will give us the inside scoop of what's happening around the conference.
Hi, and welcome back to the Big 12 recap. I'm Caroline Cook. Things are getting a little tense in the conference as we start to narrow in on those top contenders. Let's take a look back on those games that we played last week and see what we have for those matchups coming up.
Texas Tech and Iowa State were a matchup that everyone in the conference was excited for this week. Both teams are fierce competition this season for the conference. It's not shocking that we were left with such a close game at 23-22, which is a great Raider upset over number 11 Iowa State. Iowa State played a good game but could not keep up with only 432 yards of offense. Texas Tech capitalized on offense led by Taj Brooks and his 122 rushing yards that game. UCF wiped the field with the Wildcats Saturday, leaving their home field with a 56-12 victory. Arizona has been surprising to watch this season, as we never really know how that outcome will look like. Even Wildcats have their good and bad days. The star players for the UCF team include quarterback Dylan Ritz, throwing nearly 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. RJ Harvey showed off his skills as he rushed for 184 rushing yards. He also contributed to 3 touchdowns of his own. UCF had 602 yards compared to Arizona's 261, taking control of the ball and using their possession time to its fullest. It allowed UCF to experiment with those play calls to see what irritates Arizona to put them under the most pressure. Baylor defeated TCU 37-34 in a last-second win. Baylor's win extended their streak to 3 as they head into a bye week before facing West Virginia and Houston further into the season. Star players being Bryson Washington rushing for a career high of 196 yards and 4 touchdowns. Isaiah Hankins redeemed an early missed extra point by nailing the game-winning 33-yard field goal as time expired. Sawyer Robinson threw for 242 yards, helping Baylor secure a 4th down conversion late in the game. I know it's been a rough couple weeks for those Cowboy fans, but let's recap a very long game on Saturday. The Sun Devils came to Stillwater hoping for an easy match. They were unprepared for Oklahoma's weather, though. Is that what they mean when they say home advantage? Well, Arizona State overcame the weather delays to secure a win over Oklahoma State 42-21. Finally, in a surprising turn of events, Kansas State lost their grip after fighting for weeks. They ultimately fell in a game against the Cougars Saturday afternoon 24-19. The stars of the game for Houston was quarterback Zeon Chris with perfect throwing, going 11-11 for passing. Kansas State struggled with turnovers, throwing 2 interceptions that cost them in the end. Avery Johnson has been a standout player for this team all season, but it's the 19-year-old falling short in times that matter the most. Heading out of this past weekend, who could have guessed it? The Provo Cougars will remain undefeated at 5-0 in conference play. BYU has brought great competition to this conference, having all-around great chemistry on the field and a great rushing game. This team will not slow down anytime soon. They have a matchup this coming Saturday against Utah, where BYU's goal is to stay the only team that is undefeated in the conference. Heading towards the postseason, BYU holds a top spot with their perfect record, but Iowa State and Colorado remain contenders if BYU slips in their final moments. What we may see going forward is if BYU continues the momentum, we will undoubtedly be seeing them in the championship game. But watch for a strong push from Iowa State, as even though they had a rough game last weekend with a victory hanging in front of them they could not quite get, they still have time to recover. From what we have seen from this team this past season, there are low doubts this is not achievable. Iowa State, Colorado, and Kansas State all hold top positions in top 4 with crucial wins in the recent weeks. As we narrow down on these top teams, expect to see more coverage from these teams. Let's get excited for those last couple weeks of conference games, where the competition gets tighter and the fans just get crazier. The matchups for this Saturday include an early match for West Virginia against Cincinnati. Right after that, we'll watch number 17 Iowa State face Kansas at Arrowhead Stadium. Iowa State is looking for an easy win to launch back further into the rankings, but will the Jayhawks let them? One of the most entertaining teams in the league, number 21, Colorado, will face Texas Tech with conference championship hopes on the line. Who could miss out on that? Later, Oklahoma State will travel to TCU in hopes of showing this conference that they are ready to play. But is it too late in the conference play? Finally, UCF is fired up to wipe out the whole state of Arizona with a matchup with Arizona State. Anticipate an offensive forward game, meaning lots of action and unpredicted plays.
We have some exciting games coming up this weekend. I will definitely be tuning in. I don't know about you, but for all of your highlights and recaps for the Big 12, for the Poke Report, I'm Caroline Cook.
Not only are the Cowboys sitting at the bottom of the Big 12, but they are fighting to keep one of the nation's longest bowl streaks alive. And to do that, they will have to win out. Our own Ray Maytubby takes us through what's at stake for this historical streak.
The Cowboys fell to the Arizona State Sun Devils on Saturday, putting their record at 3-6. This loss marks 6 straight for the Cowboys, jeopardizing their 18-year bowl streak. The current streak is a school record and the 6th longest active streak in the FBS. The streak began in 2006 in the Independence Bowl, where the Cowboys faced the Alabama Crimson Tide. The Cowboys entered that game 6-6 and pulled out a 34-31 victory over Alabama.
The Cowboys hold a record of 12-6 during the streak, with notable victories in 2013 against Purdue and in 2020 against the Miami Hurricanes. The Cowboys also defeated Texas A&M last season in the Texas Bowl, winning 31-21, And if they want to keep that streak alive, they have to win out this season. But there's a few things that Cowboy head coach Mike Gundy feels needs to be better if they want to hold up another trophy at the end of the season.
We need to do a better job of coaching, in my opinion. Again, I need to evaluate the video tonight, but I'm not so sure that I've agreed with our schemes. I don't think it was awful, but there's just some things that I don't really agree with that I thought we could have done better. So we need to do a better job of coaching, and we need to make a few plays.
For the Poke Report, I'm Ray Maytubby.
Now, this is everybody's favorite segment, our Pick'em segment. And somebody's made up some ground so far, Peyton. I don't know what's going on.
I think somebody miscounted, actually.
What?
Yeah.
I think I'm behind like maybe, 2 or 3?
I think it's one game.
Oh, it's even better. Like, look, everybody's on board. Peyton's eating a hot wing, so Steve wins. Let's go.
I'm not doing that.
Let's go ahead and get to our first game to pick. Michigan versus Indiana. Who you got?
I got Indiana.
That's unfair because I'm also going with Indiana. Like,
no.
Indiana being undefeated, I can't not give up on this story. I want to see Indiana go far. Besides that, Michigan has been trash this year.
Okay, but this is the problem. It's like I say my pick first, and then you just go with what I'm going to say because you know I'm going to set you up for success.
That's not true. So I'm going to go ahead and pick first for this game, Alabama LSU. I don't like either one of these teams, but I'm going to go ahead and say this is going to be a game for Alabama to win this week.
That's funny. I was also going to pick Alabama, but anyways, I'll pick first on the next one.
So this game is going to be Georgia Ole Miss. Go ahead.
I think Ole Miss could definitely give Georgia the run for their money, but I think Georgia's going to pull away with the win.
I can't pick Ole Miss after what they did to my Razorbacks this past week, so I'm going to go with Georgia as well. BYU and Utah, too. The Holy War.
That is. I'm going to say BYU. I think they are going to finish the season off undefeated, but don't mark my words.
Unfortunately, I think BYU is going to continue the streak as well because Utah, without Cam Rising, hasn't been worth anything this year. Iowa State and Kansas. Who you got?
I got Iowa State. I think they're going to bounce back from their loss last weekend.
For my sake, I got to catch up this one game. I'm going to go ahead and say Kansas pulls the upset this week.
Right.
Another game everybody came for, the game of the week, OSU versus TCU.
That's right. But I feel like every single time any Oklahoma State sport travels down to Fort Worth, we always end up losing. Now, I really wish, for the sake of my heart and for OSU, I could pick OSU, but I can't. I'm so sorry. But I think TCU's going to win.
I think the game that helped me get a lead, catch up on a lead for you, Peyton, was you picking against OSU last week. I'm not doing anything different this week. I think OSU has to look in the mirror and figure some things out, mainly with quarterback play. So I'm going with TCU as well. Somebody said I picked TCU because the purple shirt it was in my closet, I swear.
Our colors are a little bit contradicting, but that's all the time we have for this week's episode. And go Pokes.